We roll into week 4, the Jeff Dubay Show. We had week 4. We're wrapping up month number 1. Unbelievable. That's seriously, that blows my mind. It hasn't been a month, but by the end of this week, it will have been roughly a month. I'm Jeff Dubay, and as the show has evolved and morphed, and some things have come into focus. We've added and subtracted and moved around. So right now, let me go from left to right around the table. Clockwise. Sean Bernard, who puts the whole thing together. Jason McGovern, who's the new producer of the show. And the hot seat, which is a rotating bit with a rotating sidekick bit. Ted Schwerzler. I can't say your name. I've always it's Schwerzler. I mean, I always want to say Schwerzler. It's Schwerzler. Did I assume German?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, don't shame.
Wow.
Well, you know what? In all fairness, we have forgotten it. We've moved on a little too quickly from all that. As far as I'm concerned, no, I'm just kidding. We don't hold grudges. But it is weird. I'm like, it did cross my mind watching the World Cup. I'm like, that guy's grandfather was trying to kill my grandfather. I mean, that's just not right.
They won the World Cup because they're the master race, right?
Well, I remember I tweeted something about they were on a collision course with Argentina, and I was thinking it was. Well, God, how did I forget what I said? 'Cause it was damn clever. It was. You can bet it was damn clever. It was like something about the third generation of the Third Reich playing against the nation that hid their grandfathers or something. I mean, well, it's because it's going to be Germany, Argentina.
But in your face, Hitler.
Well, I didn't. No, there were no Hitler references.
In your face, Hitler.
There were no Hitler. But I mean, Germany, Argentina. You think Germany would lay down for Argentina because they owe them one. I mean, they hit all the people. I mean, well, seriously. I mean, at some point you got to call that chip in, don't you?
1 solid hour of soccer talk.
Oh, God, never.
And scene.
Look at that. Ted Schwerzler is in the hot seat today. He's the rotating sidekick. Still on the Oregon bandwagon. I see. You still got the screensaver, not screensaver. What do they call those skins?
Phone.
You got the skin on the phone, or whatever. And we are going to get to NCAA football today. We're going to talk NFL. We're even going to try to squeeze in some MLB playoff talk because Ted's a ball guy. And he also covers the Gophers for
Houndsports.com.
Say that again?
Houndsports.com.
So there's, now my head's spinning. There was puckettpond.com.
Yep, that's twin.
Houndsport.com. And then what was this other one you just sent me to?
Fansided.
Jesus.
Network.
Unbelievable. Oh, so they're all interrelated? It's very incestuous?
No, all separate. But Fansided is the biggest.
Okay.
It's a big network on its own. And Puckett Pond is under Fansided.
Okay. But it's hold on, no, my head's still spinning. So you write, you cover Gophers. You write. What do you do? I mean, you write every game Saturday, and then you write the game story. But you write a game story. Okay. What about? Puckett's Pond. You wrote like an all-star game feature. But what else do you do on that website? Explain to me these outlets and what you do.
Yeah. So Puckett Pond is all Twins coverage. Co-editor there. Publish everything. Edit everything. Pretty much manage the website. Okay. Other editors.
Okay.
That's all Twins coverage. And Fansided is the network that actually Puckett Pond falls under. Quinn has 280 different sites that span everything from sports to entertainment to music, whatever. And I write news desk stories for them, so cover anything that happens throughout the day.
And I know you're a big college football guy. I know you love the Oregon Ducks. I know you cover the Gophers. Crazy week in college football. I mean, just insane. Well, I know your squad went down Thursday. Now, you and I will always, butt heads when it comes to this. And Jason, of course, you jump in at any time. Don't wait for an invitation. Sean, you speak when spoken to. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Well, I spoke to you there, technically. But I hate Oregon. I mean, because I can't stand a team that's got a different uniform every game.
I was going to say, they're just a uniform.
You just can't do that. It's a uniform. In all honesty, it might be a little shallow. It's like judging a chick by her looks. But you recognize a team, and you recognize a team, not just a team, but a university by their uniform. Like, for instance, put the Sandusky era aside for a second, and if for the last 30 years, if we said Penn State to you, what pops in your mind? A bunch of guys wearing navy blue with white helmet with no logo. I mean, seriously. Yep. Somebody says Notre Dame. What do you think? You think gold helmet? I mean, you don't think about the library or the classrooms or when somebody says Penn State, you see a bunch of guys wearing white from head to toe. You get identified by your look. What the hell's your look? I mean, what is it? You got silver helmets. Oregon's green and gold.
But on the same token as a chick reference.
Somebody's token something.
As the same reference as a chick reference, it's
Oh, I don't want to know Oregon's personality. Oregon's got a great personality. I
No,
know.
but it's really the same thing. Right? You're saying, that you might notice somebody because of what they wear, and really that's what Oregon sells. Hey, look at our uniforms, it's sexy. Look at our facilities, they're nice. It happens to be that Phil Knight graduated from the University of Oregon, so
You know what I mean?
it gives them everything.
Right. So Oregon might be sexy, but they sleep around. Well, Oregon's got herpes, my friend. I mean, the Oregon is Phil Knight's whore. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, but in all honesty, if I'm a diehard Gopher fan. Anybody knows me knows I just believe in root and gold. If Phil Knight graduated from the University of Minnesota and he's volunteered to do this, where we might have silver helmets one week, white helmets the next, and just look like idiots. I'd get season tickets to Wisconsin.
And
I'd be gone. I'd be gone.
Didn't you mention you didn't like the white helmets earlier last week?
But I don't. You know what I don't like? I don't like a dual helmet. One helmet is really all you need. It lasts the whole year. They're tough. They're made out of good stuff. You don't need multiple helmets. Multiple helmets should be illegal. Seriously, I don't come up. You can speak, John. He's like refusing to talk now. He's like pouting. He's got his lips just
tired.
How many times have I spit on the equipment?
That's why I was
fun.
frowning. That's why we stick with his laptop.
It just never
It's
ends.
kind of ridiculous.
I think we have a listener today. By the way, what's your name? Come up here. Come here for a second. Are you this guy's? You're Matt Cryer. Yeah. Or is it Creer? Cryer? Or whatever. I don't give a shit. Okay, I just want to make sure because we get listeners now. We need the speaker now.
We'll get this.
Well, not today. But
no.
Okay, now go sit down.
Thanks for coming over, though.
Well, do you have a beer? Yeah, say buy him a beer because I gave my card to Ted. Because Ted's my boy.
Put one on us. Put one on us.
Nah, Ted doesn't know anybody. Ted. I don't know if we want to start with NFL or college football day. I mean, we started talking college, which is a good stepping off point. But I've got a tablet that I barely know how to use, and I've got it on NFL. And it's going to take me forever to get into college. But in all honesty, everyone's excited about a 4-game playoff, or 4-team playoff this year, and they should be. This week, were there more tops? I think that there were more top 6 losses this week than in the history of the FBS or whatever, or the bowl era or whatever. I mean, 4 of the top 6? Was it 4 of the top? How many of the top 6 lost?
Alabama, Oregon,
Oklahoma. Was
Was
UCLA 6? Were they in the top 6?
No, they were 8, but A&M was 6.
A&M. How was A&M 6? Give me a break.
Still didn't know Jack.
Seriously, I don't. There's some early season rankings that don't make a lot of sense to me, but I mean, it's this playoff. I mean, good luck picking 4 teams right now. I mean,
I think that's why it comes into play because these polls don't matter. I mean,
They're battery on the laptop.
where at the end of the season you're going to get to a point where you say, okay, that 8th best team really belongs to these top 4.
right. Well, how good are Mississippi State? I mean, there was a question posed. I think it was on Twitter. I don't know why people ask questions on Twitter, but there was like a Twitter poll. See how I don't know how to use my tablet? I just accidentally turned it off. But there's a Twitter poll that said, will the SEC at the end of the year have 2 teams in the 14th playoff? And I said, hell no. The SEC's not that good this year.
I don't think,
But then again, who is? I mean, USC's already in the tank. Oregon isn't in the tank, but they've got a loss.
But as much as you can say it's in the tank, you can go back to SEC too and say Pac-12 is now closing the gap, and they're both just beating each other.
And
the SEC is beating each other, the Pac-12 is beating each other, the Big Ten is beating each other.
How seriously should we start taking TCU? Because without them, the Big 12's dogs. I mean, the Big 12's garbage. But TCU, you have to start looking at it a little bit.
Yeah.
And you know what? I mean,
makes the Gophers lost like a heck of a lot.
It does. Yeah,
it does, but I mean, just the self-destruct level, this level of self-destruct on offense is unforgivable. I don't care who you're playing against. I mean, just 5 turnovers and giving it up in your own end. I mean, don't giving it up. Just leave that one alone.
Why do you look at me? Anytime he says something filthy, he looks up at me like, Sean.
Well, you're the voice of. Well, I didn't mean you give it up in your own end. I mean, I don't mean you.
You said it twice now.
No,
I think people got it, and they can also rewind these podcasts.
Well, all right. Can you really? All right, well, whatever. But I mean, they did turn the ball over in bad situations and put the defense in a bad spot. To be honest with you, the Gophers fought pretty hard to just give up 35. But the position the offense put them in. But anyway, back to the Big 12 is not good this year. I mean, Oklahoma was the team. They were ranked 4th, and they're supposed to have a chance. TCU might be.
They've been bad for a long time. I mean, if you think about Matt Brown leaving Texas, when's the last time you thought Texas was?
Well, I'm going to give you a couple of truths about college. There are a couple of things that occurred to me this week, and sometimes the light bulb goes off, and I have these moments of brilliance, these moments of supreme consciousness. I said this 2 years ago, and people mocked me. the best football program in the state of Texas is and will be for some time Texas A&M. I'm sorry, I know Texas is powerful. I know they got the network and all this crap, but for the first time in the history of football, and since they've been playing football in Texas, they've played football in Texas for a while. And since they've been playing, since they first put a ball on a tee in the state of Texas, this is the first time anybody ever could grow up in the state of Texas, stay home, and play in the Southeast Conference. And that trumps Texas. That trumps the Longhorn. Texas A&M is a chance for a Texas kid to stay home and play in college football's elite conference. Texas is effed. Let me rephrase that. Texas is fucked. I can say that. It's a podcast.
You're sitting here, too, looking at it from Texas. A&M has always been second to Texas, like you said, because we have this longevity of a program, and we have a network saying we want to overthrow this regime, whereas Texas
is a brilliant move.
Right, where Texas is sitting there saying, hey, we have all this tradition, we're just sitting on
Texas A&M. A&M has been shit on by Texas for years. I mean, they've been the little brother, they've been the overlooked, they've been what like St. Cloud and UMD hockey is in the state. Well, I mean, it is. I mean, they don't get the media attention, they don't get the network coverage, they don't get the Fox network. And it's like Texas always got. They were the golden child. The Texas A&M was the stepchild. But whoever came up with, let's move to the Southeast Conference and give Texas kids a chance to stay home and play Alabama every year. I mean, it was brilliant, and they instantly trumped Texas. And Charlie Strong will succeed, and Texas will be fine. It is Texas. Texas is Texas. They're never going to. I mean, they're not going to be wiped off the football map. But I'm telling you, as long as the Southeast Conference is the power in college football, Texas A&M is going to be the premier destination for talent in that state. I firmly believe that. See, that's a brilliant take. I had that take like 3 years ago, but nobody.
What about the Baylor Bears?
Well, I mean, in all honesty, if you want to rank programs in Texas, where does Texas rank right now? I mean, they're behind Baylor. They're behind.
The only reason I have a quip on Baylor is because I'm a homer.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're the Ducks' little brother.
Why is that?
Baylor is in the top 10 because they play the Big 12. They're the same program as Oregon.
Okay.
They go through uniform changes. They run a spread offense. Art Briles is a genius.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Griffin put him on the map.
Yeah.
Rice Petty isn't anything great, but he plays in the Big 12. Put them in the Pac-12. Can Baylor beat USC? Can Baylor beat Stanford? Can Baylor beat Arizona State? Or maybe some of them, but they're not. Right now, they're beating Texas.
Yeah. You know what's weird? About the Big 12 is you've got teams that'll chuck it all over the place. You got some offenses that can be outrageous. There's not a team in that league that plays a lick of defense. And when Oklahoma got good, when Stoops got there and brought them to a national title, it was based on defense. I mean,
that's how TCU is right now.
And yes, and I mean it's just they're a really weird fit for that league because it's it is. I mean, there's the Oklahoma States of the world, teams that want to win 53-50. I mean, it's just a track meet, and then TCU is this just dynamically athletic defensive team. I mean, they're just beasts on defense. And, last year they had a ridiculous slew of injuries and some really bizarre last-minute losses. I mean, I know they had a losing record. The year before that, they were undefeated, beat Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl.
Right.
I mean, and Patterson is probably a top 5 coach in college football.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a fantastic program and a great fit for that league. But the other thing that I don't know why this is just kind of a random thought. It doesn't really fit into anything. We talked about how the power in college football is in the South. And by the way, I'll get to the sponsor, man. We just need to mention the sponsor. Devil's Advocate, get them on the air at some point. But so remind me, Sean, as soon as I'm done with this rant.
I will.
We talked about how the power of college football is in the South because college football is all about speed. I mean, I don't care how big guys are anymore. I mean, I think I like the Gophers in the '80s, like when they had guys like Anthony Burke, these big scrapping linemen who they couldn't rush a passer to save their life. They were just giant run plugging linemen. College football is about speed. I don't care. I mean, look at the Gophers right now. The Gophers are not big on defense, but they're pretty athletic. I mean, the Gophers are as athletic on defense as they've ever been. But the speed in college football comes from the deep South, the state of Texas, and probably West Coast, Southern California. I mean, if you want athletes, I mean, real the 4-4 guys who I don't know. Give me an example. Maybe not a Treadwell, like the kid at Ole Miss, but the bottom line is the guys like Julio Jones, when they come out of high school, they are in the deep South and they're staying in the deep South. And that's why I don't think the Big Ten will ever matter in college football. I think it's a thing of the past. Elite talent used to come out of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan. It doesn't. And there's still talent there. Not elite talent. I mean, not the game breaking athletes that go to Florida State, that go to Alabama. I mean, they're from the South. They'll stay in the South. The Big Ten will forever be a second-rate football conference. I firmly believe it. It is what it is. But you know why the Big Ten is the shit? You know what makes the Big Ten what just happened?
What was that?
That's okay. It's fine.
You know what makes the Big Ten the envy of every conference in college athletics? I mean, what makes the Big Ten the biggest, most powerful, most badass conference in all of the NCAA? The Big Ten Network. And nothing will ever trump it, because you can have all the 4-3 kids out of the state of Florida that you want, but if your TV markets are Tuscaloosa and Oxford and Birmingham and Gainesville, and we have New York City, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Chicago, Detroit, and Minneapolis, you can suck it.
Money.
The Big Ten is the richest, most powerful college athletics conference by a mile. And we are the big, we're the Muscle Beach guy walking around kicking sand in the face. I mean, like I said, you can have your BCS or not your BCS, your 14 playoff and your college football this, and the Big Ten is printing money. Money.
And this opens up a huge can of worms, but if you ever did decide to pay the student athletes, the TV money would pay the student athletes.
That would change
in the Big
things.
Ten, and that would then be a game changer.
But we'd have salary cap issues is what we'd have.
You would.
In the Big Ten.
You would.
But I mean...
But so that doesn't translate into anything on the field then, is what you're saying?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, give it some time. I mean, it's still... It could.
And even if you don't want to call them elite, though, if you look at the Big Ten in comparison to the elite football conference, so the SEC is an elite football conference. Look at the Big Ten as a whole. It's really, there's 3 major sports: professional, but college, there's basketball and there's football.
Well, the Big Ten's ruling the roost in basketball.
And they compete in both. The SEC is not a competitor in basketball. I'm not worried about an SEC team in basketball.
And you know what's awesome, too, is I don't think people really understand, or they didn't understand, when conference expansion and teams were leaving this conference to go to that conference, or independents were signing up, I don't think people understood. God, I just cannot not spit. I don't think people understood what you look for in a team, why you're adding somebody to the conference. I mean, I heard so many people say, why don't you go out and get Iowa State or Missouri? It makes so much sense. They're right there. And it's like, well, we don't. You're trying to expand your footprint. If you had, for one thing, you got the Iowa market, and you don't even want it. It's Iowa. I mean, it's Des Moines. It's a bunch of hillbillies. But if you had Iowa State, you don't add any TV markets. You had nothing. If you had Missouri, maybe in Kansas City. I don't know if the Big Ten Network's on in Kansas City or not. Maybe that would have made some sense. When people go, why do you want Rutgers? Well, now the Big Ten Network is on in New York, Bleeping City. That's why you want Rutgers. Maryland gave you Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. I mean, Penn State gave you Philadelphia. I forgot to mention Philadelphia earlier.
Big Ten has to be on
the TV markets are outrageous.
Huge amount of Nebraska fans.
Yeah, I would think so too.
Obviously,
so look at the TV markets. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, like Minneapolis, Kansas City, Milwaukee are like the little sisters. I mean, we'd be the biggest TV markets in the Southeast Conference for guys. I mean, I know they got Atlanta, but I mean, other than that, Jesus, I hope Tuscaloosa's paying your bills. I mean, good luck with that. Yes, yes, and I feel bad about this because we love Devil's Advocate, and we're finishing up, our first month, and hopefully the first of many here at Devil's Advocate. We're at 10th and Marquette. We're basically a half block from the local, but across the street. You know what is really turning into a landmark? When people ask me where this place is, I say, do you know the parking lot that's up against a building that's covered with musical notes? That's right there. People know where that is. The damn music note parking lot has become a landmark in this city, as embarrassing as that is. What song is it, by the way? Anybody know what song that is? Go out there and whistle it. Figure out what tune it is. Can you read music? That's just, I'm sure it's something fantastic.
Somebody go whistle it.
Well, just so we know what it is. Because anybody in here know how to read music. But we're across the street from that musical note place. But it's a very unique place. I think it's really unique because it's not at all trendy, hip, or nightclubbish. You know what I mean? It's old school.
It's a bar.
It's a bar. It's a long, narrow bar.
Looks like it could be a pub in Chicago.
Well, yeah.
New York.
I mean, I like old school bars, like a place like Whitey's. You just get a straight long hall with a straight bar, and you sit at the bar and you stare at a brick wall. That is a bar.
And they have some tasty food items. Is the thing that I was kind of surprised that the food was as good.
Well, the menu's unique. It's they call it Atlantic fare. It's coastal fare. That means it's meat and seafood. It's a protein lover's dream. Get your mind out of the gutter. I mean, they do everything in the form of balls here because they got a fetish. I'm not gonna lie to you. They got chicken balls. They've got shrimp balls, and again, these are not testicles of animals. They simply roll meat into the ball form just for your convenience. Really, that's all it is.
Have you had shrimp balls though?
No, but I've had chicken balls. As a matter of fact, I still have chicken. There's no good joke there. There's no good joke. I was trying to explore, but there's just nothing. I mean, chicken balls are nothing but ground chicken rolled into balls, and they fry them. They don't bread them, but they fry them so they're still crispy, and they throw them in buffalo sauce and blue cheese, and they're awesome. I mean, that's their answer to buffalo wings without a bunch of breading on them.
Fries are stellar, like fresh cut.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite moments I've had here. I ordered. I seem to gravitate towards fish sandwiches. The Moby Dick and the shrimp poor boy.
Yeah.
And I don't pronounce it po' boy because I'm not from Mississippi. I call it a poor boy. But I mean, whoever put breaded shrimp into a sandwich is a genius, as far as I'm concerned. It's just subtle genius, but it's genius nonetheless. But the waitress came out here once and said, "Sorry, they hadn't taken long at all." She goes, "Sorry, your order's taking a little longer. They're slicing your fries." I'm like, how can you possibly come out here and apologize to me for slicing fries? I mean, they're in the back slicing potatoes up to put. I mean, that's what a French fry is. It's not something frozen out of a bag. And I mean, that's how awesome this place is. I mean, it's like State Fair fries, but better. And she's out here apologizing to me for them. I'm like, I should be kissing your rear end right now. Are you kidding me? I mean, you see the wait staff. I mean, but it has nothing to do with the quality of the wait staff. It's all about the fries are so awesome, and she's out here apologizing for having awesome fries. Like, it just struck me as odd.
They've been a great partner this far, and
And tell them about when they come out and listen to the show.
Well, there's also a beer special. Is that what you're talking about? The beer special?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When you get a $2 off during happy hour?
They don't have to come here. They can tweet something about the bar from anywhere, can't they?
Yep.
If they have to come here to get the beer.
Yeah.
They
don't deliver.
Yeah, there's no delivery. There's no beer
Anymore.
But I mean, that's the other thing. You talked about the food. They've got 40 craft beers, and when I was out doing the bar scene earlier in my younger life, I was a beer snob. And this is 40 craft beers. These are microbrews from around the country. I mean, don't come in here and look for a Macon Light. Not that we don't want them to advertise on the show. Just don't come in here looking for one. Just don't come in here looking.
They might have it in bottles somewhere, stashed somewhere.
Oh, by the way, I saw a little thing on the internet over the weekend. The 10 least healthy beers for you. None of them featured here, by the way. But I mean, I was caught off guard by a couple of them. Most of them were the giant. I mean,
they're
I was
all
thinking,
macro brews.
Yeah, so it was like the Budweisers and the Bud Lights because they used like genetically altered corn. So if you want safe beer that's not going to like make you grow an ass out of your head, then come down here and get a microbrew that doesn't have genetically altered corn.
Beer.
Genetically altered corn. It scared the hell out of me. I had nightmares for days. I mean, it sounded horrible. I mean, but then they also hit like Newcastle and Guinness got hit up on the list too, just because they're like real fatty or something. I don't know. Well, who cares? But they got 40 craft beers here.
Guinness fewer calories than Budweiser. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but it's got less genetically altered corn too. So you growing ass.
So no ass out of your head.
Or whatever, penis out of your chin, whatever. I don't know why I even said that. It's Monday. I got 4 days of pent up weirdness.
The guy named Ted Chin.
No, you didn't. Oh God, that's.
How can we possibly bring the show back?
I've got to get the beer special in. It's I'm just knocking on headphones on. That's when you really.
You don't see that every day.
The beer special is something called the Widowmaker, and it's an IPA. Jason, why don't you describe the Widowmaker? Because
I'm drinking it right now again. Yeah, well, and I always drink this because it is the special when we're here.
And you're also the host of the Pubecast.
And I'm the host of the Pubecast, also known as the Pubcast, the Minnesota Pubcast. So we'll be starting that tomorrow night. But no, I love this IPA. As I was actually telling our server too, and I told you last week. There's a million IPAs out there, and this IPA stands up to them. You know, it's not over the top and bitter or hoppy or trying to be too crazy. It's a smooth, really easily drinking, just a very good, solid IPA. I'm a fan of this beer.
Well done. I guess the Pubecast thing is not as funny as I thought it was. It's just that going over.
But it gets funnier every time. So just keep rolling with it.
Well, it gets funnier every beer. I mean, two, three beers in, he's going to be laughing his ass off.
Another Widowmaker for you?
So anyway, the Widowmaker special is you come here and check in on Twitter or Facebook. Just I don't know what that even means. Just tell people where you are on Twitter or Facebook, and they'll give you $1 off, and they'll tell you to buck off. But and if it's during happy hour, they'll give you $2 off. And if you just tweet it somewhere. You don't have to be here, but you tweet it and then come in and they'll give it to you for $1.
Yeah, just show it to the bartender.
Yeah.
We'll probably wrap up this 19 minutes.
Well, I love Devil's Advocate.
They're great.
And you know, our
that is love for a sponsor.
So it's
right
re-up time. So it's it's suck-up time is what it is. Re-up means suck-up. No, but in all honesty, I love this place. The food's great. The people have been great. And hopefully we'll be here next month as well. I want to get. Well, we just got to cross. Well, let's get into the NFL because there were a couple of moments yesterday that not necessarily even. I don't say not on the field because they did happen on the field, but they were just kind of like touching human interest moments, like Jim Schwartz getting carried off the field against the Detroit Lions. Did that do something for you? Jim Schwartz is a loser. All right, I can't stand it. He could have stayed in Detroit forever for all I cared because they would have sucked forever had he been there. But when Buffalo goes in and comes from 14-3 down, I mean. The game is 14-3 in the second half. I'm going, who would ever watch this game? The mothers of the players have turned the channel on this game. It is 14-3 in the second half. And Schwartz gets carried off the field after vanquishing the Detroit Lions. Did that not do anything for anybody? You guys are cold. What a bunch of black hearts.
With him being a loser.
Well, he is. Oh, he's a phenomenal loser.
Do you think that's the only reason that...
Asked to be carried off?
Do you think he would...
What a douche. If he has to be carried, hey guys, come get me.
Immediate-
Hey, if this kick is good, you come over here and pick...
troll moments, though, to your former franchise. Hey, look, we just beat you.
Well, I can't believe anybody would say, hey, if this kick is good, you get my right leg, you get my left leg, you get the Gatorade bucket. I mean,
I'd hope
what a
not.
douche.
I'd hope not.
No, I hope not. But that sounds a cool moment.
But as somebody who's watched this division for as many years as I have,
Yeah.
seeing someone beat Detroit.
Such a pathetic bunch of losers. That franchise is just... I mean,
I
thank
admire
God
their
for them.
fans because I don't know how you could stay a fan.
Well, the only question is, I do not respect him in the morning. I don't care what morning.
We were talking before the show, they're coming into Minnesota this week without Megatron and possibly without Reggie Bush. And the Vikings now starting a rookie quarterback in the second game. Probably a favorite.
Yeah, and I tell you what, when you not talking about off the field, but just on the field, what happens between the lines is they're more despicable. Complete thug, and I just got no respect. But what might have been the best moment of the weekend, and it happened in a game that I think we all saw coming down Broad Street. I mean, I don't think anybody who watched still has enough pride, even at 37. I said something really crass about Tom Brady last night that I should never repeat publicly. Now I'm going to on the internet. Yes. When I heard that I was watching the pregame and they mentioned that he's now age 37, I thought to myself, he's probably got gray pubes. And then I thought to myself, he's a slick modern dude. He probably didn't even have pubes.
Wow.
Or he dyes them? Is that also
But
a
nobody
party?
dyes pubes.
Tom Brady?
No, he would just shave. Dudes don't have pubes anymore, by the way. Give it the time. Well, I mean,
This is the Pubecast. No, this has become the Pubecast.
I was like ashamed of myself when I said it in private. I can't believe I just said it semi-publicly.
Oh.
But anyway, in this game,
I was going to eat something, but I think I'm going to get it to go.
in this game, it's the third quarter, and it's about a 3-touchdown lead, and it's the writing's on the wall. I mean, the writing was on the wall early. They went up 14-0 right away, and even though the Bengals tried, with the Pac-Man punt return. Talk about whatever happened to Pac-Man Jones. He's just a punt returner now.
That's what he looks like. Is
And
he
you
a
know,
QB2?
Fringe corner.
But he no longer goes by
He's out of
Pac-Man
jail,
either.
at least.
He's Adam. He's just Adam.
Yeah.
But he was referred to last night every time as former Pac-Man.
Former,
which
yeah.
is, you might as well just call him Pac-Man.
Well,
then.
isn't
Why
that
don't you
weird?
call him by his name?
Yeah. How do you have a
Steve
former
Smith,
nickname?
Steve Smith Senior now because
Yeah.
I had a kid.
Yeah.
I'm Steve Smith Senior.
Weird.
Yeah.
So anyway, they get the Pac-Man punt return, former Pac-Man punt return, and they score like I believe on the first play. So it's like a one-play drive with 12 minutes left. All of a sudden, it's a tight game. It's like a 7-point game or 10-point game, something like that. And then pugilist Tom Brady just puts his foot down and says, nah, and then they go for like 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. And they come out they go to a commercial break, and in the stadium they do an on-screen video of no. This is far more touching than that.
Good timing.
Like a children's cancer thing.
Yeah.
Because you got
It's the guy from Cincinnati.
What's
I
his
can't think
name?
of his name either.
Devin, thank you. God, I couldn't believe I did the bid and forgot the name.
I saw that.
So they put the thing on the screen, and it's during the commercial. But NBC's smart enough to put a camera behind Devin Still. Devin Still's on the bench looking up at the thing as it's playing, and they've got a camera on him watching it. And you can see in the background, with his daughter and the tiara. She's got, the bald head from the chemo, and they're down by 3 touchdowns. He's got to be feeling a little sour about the game, but the crowd gives him a standing O. Robert Kraft jumps up in his booth standing O. He donated like $25,000 to the cause, and Robert Still stands up. What's his name? Devin Still. Stands up, down 3-4 touchdowns, and probably sour as hell, and not only waves to the crowd and acknowledges the crowd, but has a tear run down his cheek.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they even got a still shot of him standing there, and you can see like the shine of the tear.
The single tear.
It was unbelievable. I mean, I almost wept openly, and I'm making pube jokes about Tom Brady. I mean, seriously, it was. Did anybody else see this? Did anybody else watch this? This great moment was lost.
I thought it was really touching too. Actually,
it was as good as it gets.
Whenever a road team does that for somebody like that, that's really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I mean, we were talking before the show here about not
I need a Diet Coke.
players.
Gotta have a Diet
on the
Coke.
field because of their
We need a break.
their actions. Every moment that happens like that, where you have something on the field really transcend the game,
Yeah.
those are the moments that you should sit there and think, wow,
The still
that
shot.
is where sports really stand apart.
The still shot with the tear going down his cheek. I mean, that was pretty touching. It better not have been sweat or spit. I think it was a tear.
No, they said it was a tear. And he had his daughter's name.
It was a hell of a moment. I mean, it really was. I mean, well, the whole story is pretty amazing. I mean, I didn't. When did this all start? Break? In the off season, or before the preseason? Because he was going to be on the practice squad.
He was supposed to be on the practice squad.
Yeah, they promoted
just
him.
made his jersey because of his
That's it. The cheerleaders were wearing the jersey. That was pretty cool
really
too.
cool.
And the
Yeah.
YouTube video that he did with his daughter was a few weeks ago before the NFL, a lot of the NFL scandals.
They needed a feel-good story. That they did, to say the least.
They're getting. I mean, that's
Goodell should be filleting this guy for saving the image of the National Football League. He should. I guess that might sully.
I wish we were on video.
That might sully. I guess that might sully the story if it turned into. Well, that's the other. Well, as long as we're there.
You mean landing
As
on
long as
the
we're there. As long as we're on that subject. Right before the show, I'm like thumbing through headlines. It says Minnesota to expand gay marriage. I mean, how do you expand gay marriage? You're going to include other species now? I don't get it. I mean, you allow gay marriage. That means men can marry men, women can marry women. How do you expand it? Well, what are you expanding it to? There's nothing left. That's not offensive. That's a legitimate question. If it's legal for a man to marry a man, and it's legal for a woman to marry a woman, and you expand it, how do you expand it? There's nowhere else to go.
Other states.
Oh, well, they've been doing shit like that in Wisconsin for years. They don't wait. They didn't wait for legal approval.
Trust marry cheese in Wisconsin.
Why do you think there's all the holes in the cheese heads?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
How do you think they got?
Yeah, wedding nights. Some really twisted, sick wedding nights. But, I mean, the NFL, oh, thank you. I hope you didn't get charged for that. You told them it was for me, right? Because, I mean, I pretty much run this place. Thank you. I wish we had those tin cups. Well, those were those icy tin cups. I digress. Next time I take a sip, when you guys can talk for like 5 seconds.
Well, you were about to go somewhere, and then you stopped, so we didn't want to.
Okay. Well, here's another moment I kind of like. Did you like the very chilly handshake post game, Alex Smith and Jim Harbaugh? I mean, that was not touching. That was like the opposite of what you saw in Cincinnati or New England. This was a frosty moment. Did you see it, Ted?
Yeah, but how much do you think Alex Smith?
I think Alex Smith he was the frosty one.
And he probably has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, though, thinking, hey, I'm going to have a job next year. You're not.
Well, I tell you what.
I'm still going to be in the NFL. You're not. You're going to be coaching Michigan because Brady Hope doesn't know what he's doing.
Well, yeah, but I'd still rather be Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah,
For now.
exactly.
For now.
Well, Jim Harbaugh's not going to get fired.
I don't know. They hate him. Really? I don't know why.
There are a couple of different reports today saying he's out.
He's been reported as being forced to fire. weird and not for sure. To me,
Well, he's a great coach. I mean, keep
Jim
the
Schwartz is the antithesis of Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Jim Schwartz just has been lost. Harbaugh is a jerk that wins.
yeah. And with Harbaugh, the move to Kaepernick, at the time that it happened, I mean, there's the old adage, you can't lose, you should lose a starting gig to injury in pro sport. It took such balls to do what he did.
And he was right.
And he was dead right. He was dead right because, and not only did it take balls, but I mean, they had to they had to really overhaul what they were doing offensively to fit Kaepernick's skills because it's a completely different skill set. I know they're going to be a spread. I mean, Smith is a spread read option quarterback too, but he's not Kaepernick. And it opened up everything. I mean, LaMichael James became a factor. He was not a factor with Alex Smith. He was a factor with Kaepernick. Whatever happened to LaMichael James? I know they did.
Carlos Hyde. He had a tryout with the Eagles and shipped him.
But I mean, he was a factor that first year. When they made that quarterback change, all of a sudden he mattered.
Did you think that was going to work? Either one of you? Did you guys agree with his move to keep Kaepernick and get rid of?
I liked Kaepernick as a quarterback.
I did. I watched the read. Did you see the Nevada game when they beat Boise? I mean, the Boise kicker. I mean, he was the story of the game. But Kaepernick was the deal. Yes.
And as much as Alex Smith lost the job to injury, he lost the job to talent.
Well, yeah.
Kaepernick had him
He throws lasers. He throws
I don't
lasers.
believe, and I'm not of the faction that thinks Russell Wilson and Kaepernick is anywhere close to elite. They're mediocre to good quarterbacks, but they're not elite. Kaepernick is way above average. Alex Smith is that game manager. Kaepernick, Russell Wilson, they're up and coming. They're Rodgers, Breeze, even though Breeze has been terrible this year. Breeze, Brady, Manning, they're not bad. Kaepernick and Smith, that's not.
Well, I think it's hard to even compare Kaepernick to Breeze or Kaepernick to Brady because it's such a different.
So different.
Well, no, I'm talking about
the
the way they
style.
play. The way they
Well,
play.
that too.
I mean, Kaepernick is never going to be the passer that Manning is, or the game. Just. I mean, Manning is not just What makes Manning is he stands at the line of scrimmage and knows exactly how to attack a defense.
Picks apart the entire defense.
I mean, Manning is also the worst big game quarterback in the history of elite quarterback, but that's another story for another show.
Well, and vice versa, they're not going to be him with his legs or athleticism.
Right. But so Kaepernick. I mean, what Kaepernick brings, and this is what always fascinated me about. I mean, Kaepernick's a durable enough quarterback. Like, see, RG3 has shown that he's going to break down on a regular basis if you let him get outside the pocket. I mean, I'm not saying you limit a guy like RG3 completely athletically because why would you? I mean, it's what he brings to the table. But RG3 can. They've got to limit how much he does with his legs because he's going to get beat up.
How much smaller is he than Kaepernick?
Well,
he seems a lot smaller.
Smarter. I think that's
he might.
the issue.
He might be.
Kaepernick is smart.
Yeah.
Kaepernick knows when to take a hit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the difference.
Yeah.
He's a
RG3
mentality. It's okay. I'm running.
Yes, he's
back
reckless.
now, I'm gonna
He's
get
reckless.
Killed,
Yeah.
And I think that Cam Newton kind of plays into that too, and that's why he started to get hurt.
But-
I'm a runner. No,
Yeah.
there's a quarterback
Yeah.
first who's
Who
running.
also run.
Yep.
And the brilliance of the offense of a spread read option is that the quarterback has to be accounted for in the running game. So in other words, you're not playing 10 versus 11. You're playing 11 versus 11, and math is irrefutable. I mean, you can sit and argue about style of this and style, but if you're playing 11 versus 11 versus 10 versus 11, you've got a better chance. I mean, the quarterback who hands off does not have to be accounted for. The quarterback who hands off is a non-factor. Peyton Manning is a non-factor in the run game. But with Kaepernick, you now have 11 versus 11, which means you have another guy in the box. If you're going to have any chance to stop the run, which means you've got some man-to-man coverage or a weakness somewhere in the secondary. It is the irrefutable law of mathematics. You cannot argue that 11 is not greater than 10. But the only way this works is if you have a quarterback who can stay healthy, running that kind of an offense. And Kaepernick has shown that he can. I mean, RG3 cannot. But that's why Kaepernick's value is hard to compare to a guy like Brady. I mean, he's not Brady. He's not Manning. I would take an elite Hall of Fame, drop back passer before I would take a guy like Kaepernick. But there is an unquantifiable factor of value that you just it makes it impossible to compare one to the other when they're that different. But Kaepernick, I think, is more valuable than RG3 because he can be that guy in that offense and not go down every
Well, any quarterback has to be able to stay on the field.
Yeah.
That's if you can't stay on the field, you're useless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you do when you're on there. If you, and especially, I think you nailed it too with the Kaepernick thing. Because he's the same style. He can run. He can do all the same things that RG3 does, but he is just smarter about it. He makes the right decisions.
And I think he's bigger.
And that's why he's still on the field. But I think he's got to be a couple inches bigger and 20 pounds at least bigger.
I mean, I tell you what. I didn't like it. I didn't like seeing him naked in ESPN the magazine. But he was an impressive specimen. And he's cut. I mean, the man is put together. He's a beast. Oh, he throws lasers. He throws lasers. Yeah, but I mean, he does throw lasers. He's got a fantastic arm. Who do you think's a better thrower? Just between he and RG3. I mean, just pure passer. Neither of them can get out of the pocket. If the NFL rules did not allow a quarterback to leave the pocket, who would you rather have between the two?
I think it's still Kaepernick with the arm. He's got a gun.
I think he's got a goofy delivery. If you can't watch him throw the ball without thinking he's throwing a baseball, to me it looks like
It does look weird. Well, but Philip Rivers was like a girl.
Yeah.
I mean,
but he gets done. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Danny Werfel threw like a girl. Remember Danny Werfel?
Yeah.
He threw like a girl. I mean, literally. I mean, not just the form, but the velocity as well.
Yeah.
But we're about 40 minutes into it. See, I always been on AM radio my whole life. I'm always used to giving the time. This is a podcast. You can't give the time. I don't know when the hell people are listening. But I got to say we're 40 minutes in. We're 40 minutes in, about 20 minutes to go. Ted Schwerzler. The hang around.
Never liked it.
I don't know why you're just such a whippy boy. Well, you did for a while, but that's a long story.
What did I do?
But that's Ted's at heart, you're a baseball guy. I mean, wouldn't you say? I mean, passionate baseball guy, and you do some coaching too, right? Yeah, and the baseball playoffs are going on right now, and I'm really ashamed of myself that I have seen very little of it. I'm just. Life's been getting in the way, but I love Major League Baseball postseason. I can't believe that the Royals have already not only advanced from the one-game wild card, but they've also swept the Angels. But why? They showed what the probability of different matchups were going to be within the ALC. Like, what were the chances of this ALC and this matchup versus that? Before the playoffs started, there was a 9% chance, like 9.4%. I mean, the Royals are so loosey-goosey. They are so just in their element and so having fun, knowing that there's not a damn thing to lose. Obviously, I was a bat boy in '87 and '91, and I remember, we get to this young upstart Twins team in '87. They get to the ALCS and they play just this beast of a Tigers team. It's just loaded. Doyle Alexander's on the mound. He hadn't lost a game forever. He got traded in the middle of the season, over to the Tigers, and it went like 10-0 or something outrageous. And Gaetti gets up in his first two at bats, takes him deep. Boom, boom. He's 2 for 2. Never played a playoff game in his life. He's 2 for 2 at 2. Nothing different about it. What they need is they got to get Gene Hackman out there and measure the distance to the plate, and then measure the distance between the bases, just like he does in Hoosiers, and then say, look, it's the same damn game. And the Royals right now are playing like it's July, and that's what you have to do. You can't go out there thinking this is the playoffs, this is a big game, because then you're done. You're done.
And they're doing it in spite of their manager. Ned Yost is not a good baseball manager.
I like it. Keep going.
And I was all about Oakland spent all this time bringing in John Lester for a 2-month rental, giving up Cespedes, blah, 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 blah. I thought there was no way the Royals were going to win that wild card game.
Right.
Oakland needed to win that wild card game.
They did.
The Royals
Lester
were
did not
happy
work
to
out.
be here kind of thing.
Right.
Ned Yost tried to lose that game.
You know what,
You
though?
bring out you take out your ace. James Shields is pitching relatively well. You take him out
He's a big game guy.
and you put in a rookie who has pitched one relief inning all season, and he blows the lead for you. And what do the Royals do? The players continue to play baseball. Ned Yost tried to manage. He tried to overthink. He tried to bring in Ventura because, hey, I'm a hard thrower and it's the postseason.
Yep.
No, they played baseball. And then they beat the Angels because they
That's a good
played
point.
baseball.
That's a good point.
Do you want to bet against the Orioles? Or, I'm sorry, the Royals with the Orioles? I don't.
They're so loose right now.
They're playing
And
baseball.
I'll tell you this: the back to the point of treat it like it's just the game.
Yeah.
Don't put your pressure on yourself. The A's got so out of their Moneyball phase and just went out and tried to buy. I mean, when you do that, you put a lot of pressure on your squad. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on that clubhouse to win now.
And you look at that trade.
That's tough.
You look at that trade as Cespedes for Lester, but it's not that. You bring in Lester, great. He's a great, starting rotation arm. But what did Cespedes mean to Brandon Moss, to Josh Donaldson?
Yeah.
Those players are not seeing the same pitches because
You
they
gotta
don't have
protect 'em.
Cespedes around him.
Yeah, I agree. And I tell you what, though, a lot of people didn't like the Shields trade when the Royals went on guy because they traded the big bat. Who's the bat?
Will Myers.
Yes,
yep.
Will Myers, who did the can't miss kid, and he's a good player. He's a good player. He might not be quite what people thought he was, but he's a good player. But I've seen enough baseball that if I'm a GM, I pour every resource I have into pitching. I mean,
Without a doubt.
I know the Royals lineup isn't sexy, and they. What did last in the major leagues in home runs?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they don't hit the ball out of the
Well,
park
and Billy
very well.
Butler didn't show up this year. He hasn't played at all.
Right.
I mean,
and he
really.
almost effed up the wild card game
Yep, yep.
with that first inning
Blunder, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
God, it was ugly. But another questionable managing decision too to put
Yeah,
that play on.
right.
But anyway, they go out and get Shields, if you're going to put Shields, he's not elite, but he's close to. He's like second tier. I mean, he's like if you're talking about like a really good contending ball club with a loaded staff, like you put him on Detroit, he's a third starter. I mean, but that's kind of an extreme example because they got Cy Young 1, Cy Young 2, but and Scherzer's better than Verlander, to be honest with you. But Shields is the kind of guy who is, I think I think of him as like a bulldog. He's just a tough. I mean. Again, he's
He's an innings eater.
Yeah, and he's a 2 or 3 starter. He's not an ace on a really good team. He's a 2 or 3 starter, and they say, well, why do if you're going to give up a guy like Will Myers, you got to get an ace in return. But I mean,
But the Tigers showed that wasn't the deal this year. I mean, when you look at that trade, the Royals to the Rays for Shields,
Yeah.
it still blows my mind what the Rays got back for David Price.
they got nothing.
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 And the Tigers really got nothing in David Price. He didn't show up this year
Yeah,
either.
that's
but
disappointing.
irrelevant. They got no pieces.
Well, they had
at
3
all.
Cy Youngs. I said 2. They got 3 Cy Youngs. Just Price is Cy Young,
Right.
isn't he?
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, maybe I
I can't remember. I think
Well,
he won one.
okay.
But
They got 3 aces.
Frontline aces.
They've got
yep.
3 frontline aces, and Kansas City's got 0. I mean, Shields is a 2 or 3 starter, like I said, on a contending team. But what Shields is a guy who's used to. I like the fact that his background is Tampa, because if you're the Royals, that's the template. I mean, that's who you want to emulate. That's who you have to emulate. And bringing in Shields is it just fit nicely. And he's a bulldog. He's the tough as nails guy. As a matter of fact, it was the single game playoff where he was struggling. He wasn't looking sharp. They were up, but they was only up by a run or 2. And he comes out and goes like 3-0 on the first guy, and the crowd's getting restless. And he comes back and throws 3 straight strikes and gets them, and then gets the next 2 guys on like 3 pitches. And I mean, at that point, I thought, boy, he's going to settle in. And then
then Yost yanks
it
him.
turned into a
Yep.
mess after that. But that inning, I mean,
Yep.
that's the kind of inning where I think that's why you get Shields. And I am all about taking the resources you have. You got to go out and get 3 really good starters, and then build a bullpen. Those are the priorities.
Sticking close to home, I did a piece today on Puckett's Pond about that. If the Twins go get starting pitching, that's who it is. You don't go get Scherzer because you can't pay for Scherzer.
No, you can't pay for Scherzer.
But you can pay for Shields, and Shields fits with a Phil Hughes.
If you took a player, a straw poll for Major League players and coaches, and asked who's the filthiest starting pitcher in Major League Baseball, it would be a split between Kershaw and Scherzer. Those would be your top two guys.
Yep.
But people, I'm not going to say people don't know about Scherzer. I mean, he won a Cy Young. But, I mean, this is a guy who throws 95 with sink. I mean,
If it weren't for Verlander, he'd be talked about a lot.
Well, I mean,
more.
Verlander throws 98. I mean, Verlander's not throw 100, by the way. Detroit's gun is it's a joke.
Especially now.
There's some ballparks that juice their gun, and they do it because the people ooh and ah when they see 3 digits on the radar screen. I mean, then it's not that they juice it. The way it was explained to me by Major League scouts is that there are 2 kinds of radar guns. One picks up the ball right in front of home plate. The other picks up the ball out of the hand. The one that picks up the ball out of the hand is 2 to 3 miles an hour faster. And I'm sure they can also juice it if they want to. Whatever. But Verlander's not throwing 100. When Verlander comes to target field, you'll see him pop the gun at 95 to 97, which is damn good. That's plenty. But it's a heavy 4-seam. It's not got a lot of movement, but he's got a big hook that he can drop a hammer on you. I mean, so he can mix it up enough to get by. Scherzer's throwing it 94, 95. Then it darts. I mean, it just goes boom, and it's down and it disappears. And it's not a splitter. It's just a 2-seamer. Nobody throws a 2-seamer 94, 95. You throw 2-seamers like 91, 92. He's throwing it 95 with a sink. I mean, he's filthy.
The last time we saw that consistently was the very small mirage that got him paid for a long time. But Ubaldo Jimenez, when he had that short little stint with Colorado, the Indians were crazy. The writing was on the wall of what kind of pitcher he was. But when he had that little stint, it was a 2-seamer that sunk, and it got him paid for the rest of his career.
And I tell you what, I don't know how he did it in Colorado because I talk to people. I used to talk to people all the time about Colorado. People, obviously it's a hitter's paradise. The first and most important reason. Well, the ball carries forever. I mean, we get that. But I think it was Rick Anderson who actually told me this. So suspend your disbelief, people. I like Rick Anderson. I'm not saying he didn't have to go, but he knows what he's talking about in this regard. That pitchers don't want to go to Colorado, not just because the ball flies, but because, I mean, you know what makes a ball move. I mean, you're snapping off a ball with this incredible spin, and the laces are basically like the tread on a tire, and they're gripping the air. And as they grip the air, it makes the ball slide, dip, whatever.
Don't have the same density.
The air is so thin that no matter how hard you snap something off, it's not grabbing anything. It's just floating through the air, and it's not those laces are not gripping the air, and your shit it flattens out. I mean, to me, it's fascinating.
This is the first time you've heard gripping the air on any sportscast.
I mean, that's the pitchers. I mean, you watch pitchers pitch in Colorado, and you're like, boy, where's his slider tonight? I mean, he's been snapping them off all year long. Where's that slider? They're so thin, the ball can't grab. The laces can't grab the air.
Have you ever driven a golf ball in the mountains?
What's
that?
that?
Ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, have you ever driven a golf ball in the mountains?
No.
It's amazing. I hit one 360.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, you're pretty roided up. You're kind of a roided
I was
up
pretty
beast.
juiced at that time.
But does the golf ball fly straighter too, then? Is it because it's gripping the air less?
No, it was just that I was a really
so you're
good
still
hitter.
hitting that big slice?
No, I mean, I could drive the ball. I mean, I'd hit it anywhere from 250 to 280 usually, but I wasn't really thinking about the fact that I was in the mountains, and I was like, holy shit, I just hit it 360.
Well, it's pretty amazing that Jimenez's stuff was jumping like that in thin air.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't care about your long... No, I'm just
kidding. No, but these guys, what was hilarious is the guys that lived there looked at me and they're like, hey, jackass, it's because you're in the mountains. I was like, yeah, thanks for buzzkilling.
Isn't it weird playing golf in other states?
It really is.
I mean, I played in Vegas when we go to Super Bowl trips. I played in Florida because I had a buddy who worked at Innisbrook. So I'm at Innisbrook, and I hit a ball into a fairly low-lying, swampy region of the golf course.
Yeah.
And he says to me, when you get over there, he says, don't just run up to the ball. Look around for snakes and gators. And I'm like, oh, fuck you. I'm like, he's messing with the guy from Minnesota. I'm like, he stopped me, he grabbed my shoulder, he goes, look for snakes and gators. I said, give me another fucking ball. I mean, seriously. Snakes and gators. But I mean, and then I went back, and golfed in Florida a few years ago with a friend of mine, Dan Endy. You might know Dan.
Yeah, I know Dan.
The co-founder of NFL
Films.
Films.
Money.
But I'm talking about the senior, not the son.
Oh, okay.
The son's your age. Dan's 80 years old.
100.
He's a guy I've golfed with for years at Minneapolis Golf Club. He's just a great guy. We were playing in the Orlando area, and I mean, there's just gators sunning themselves. Nobody gives a damn about
it. Is odd on a golf course because I sat there with a gator
to Florida,
20 feet behind me.
To people from Florida, To them, gators are like squirrels. I mean, they just run
They
around.
are.
They don't give a shit. That's like alligator. Well, alligator, squirrels. I've never been eaten by a squirrel. I'm not gonna. I mean, they don't. They are so oblivious to alligators. They couldn't care less.
Are the gators though like city squirrels, where they don't give a shit if there's people around too? Like they're just like, oh, what's another golfer? Get out of here! I'll eat your golf ball. I mean, what do they?
But don't sell a squirrel short, because once on a golf course, a squirrel jumped on my brother's leg. Like, just jumped it, like grabbed his leg.
Was it humping the leg, or
I'd have
was it-
such a freak out if I'm poking around in the weeds and a squirrel jumping on my leg. I'm in pure freak out mode at that. I'm screaming. Aren't you a little freaked out?
Oh yeah.
And those red squirrels, those are little bitches. They hiss at you. The red ones are mean.
They are negative.
And that is not a racist comment. Red squirrels are just mean-ass squirrels.
Well,
They're
it's
just-
racist when it comes to squirrels.
But, well, okay, yeah, I do discriminate against red squirrels. They're just
need to change
assholes.
their
They're the
mascot.
assholes of the squirrel world.
They really are.
Yeah, but we only got about 5 minutes left in the show, so there's really not time for Grill the Host. Did you come up with any questions? Maybe give me your best one. Give me your best one, if you got any. But you don't have to. Grill the Host is really dying
Let
to
the
slow
guy
down.
answer, for Christ's sake.
I don't think it's going to last.
Let's go to the Vikings because of Thursday. Ponder looked terrible. We knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, he's mentally challenged.
First, I'm going to tee it off with a stat I saw after the game.
Okay.
So, I thought the offensive line looked terrible on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Pro Football Talk came out and said Christian Ponder had an average of 2.1 seconds per drop back on Thursday. Teddy Bridgewater against Atlanta on Sunday had an average of 2.5 seconds per drop back. So you had 0.4 seconds of a difference.
I don't know how they quantify that.
I don't either. But made so much more with it. What do you see Teddy becoming long term because of how he's shown to be a decision maker, get rid of the ball, and he has mobility? He looks like he has a plan.
Well, Teddy's got a chance to be elite as far as I'm concerned. And that whole 2.1 and 2.5, whoever comes up with that, they can suck it.
You can't sit there with a stopwatch.
Well, because unless they're getting to the quarterback, unless it's an actual sack, how are you determining at what point the clock stops running?
Right.
And Teddy Bridgewater, what impresses the hell out of me about him is he stands in the face of pressure without getting happy feet, without wetting himself, without just having to get out of the pocket or get rid of the ball. He will sit there knowing it's coming. They're coming, but I'm not ready yet. Now I'm ready. And that's your 0.4, because he's inventing the 0.4. I mean, there's just so many bogus numbers in sports that people just want to. I don't know. I don't want to insult you. Are you a sabermetrics guy?
No, I'm not. Not at all.
Sabermetrics
Not
can
at all.
suck it. I mean, I love Phil Mackey to death. He's one of my favorite people in the world, and he's a sports guru, and I respect him and love him. He's a friend. But sabermetrics caused him to do a show bit where he debated, not only wanted to put it on the table that Joe Mauer is a better player than Kirby Puckett, he championed it. That is the cause. Without sabermetrics, Joe Mauer's dad wouldn't make that argument without sabermetrics. Sabermetrics run amok. If you're going to tell me that Joe Mauer's in the same galaxy as Kirby Puckett as a baseball player. But that's what sabermetrics does to people. It just gets in your head and it just turns you into an idiot. Not Phil Mackey. He's not an idiot. I can't say enough. He's a great friend. I've known him for years and I love and respect him. But he's one of those guys who takes numbers too far. That I hate stats. 2.1 versus 2.5. I feel like beating you up right now for that. No, I'm just kidding. You kick my ass. He'd destroy me in a fight.
I was all on that bandwagon prior to the draft.
I love Phil Mackey. I love Phil Mackey. I do. I did not want that to be misunderstood.
I love that.
I swear to God.
I love that Teddy is coming in and making all 31 teams that passed on him. Really, it's not all 31. Whoever needed a quarterback.
Right.
But there's a reason that he was sitting there 2 months before the draft, and he was projected as the number one pick because he had a bad day in shorts. You're trying to tell me that he's now
no gloves.
Yeah. That he's now not a first-round pick?
Yeah,
I
I know.
hope he has a Hall of Fame career and all these teams feel stupid, especially the Browns.
Pro days and combines and workouts and measurables. I get so fed up with it.
Why watch tape?
Can't anybody just watch a game and say if a guy's any good anymore?
Yeah.
I'm so sick of it. But we got 2 minutes left here. I want to stroke the client again. So we'll talk about Devil's Advocate quickly. 40 craft beers on tap. Don't turn your mic off here. We're not done. 40 craft beers on tap. An Atlantic Fair menu that is fantastic. Come down here and get your protein now because they got meat, fish. It's all good. I mean, it is all so good. Have you guys ordered yet? You know what you're going to have? Have you looked at the menu?
We grabbed some nachos.
How were they? Did you have them yet? They haven't come yet? Or they came? Did you
Got
like them?
thumbs up from
Yeah,
Sister
the nachos are
Nikki.
solid.
Or did you go as
Wife.
That's his wife. Jesus Christ.
wife.
This is not
I thought it was
Alabama.
sister.
No.
This is not the deep
I
south, for
thought you
God's
guys
sake.
kissed a little long.
My God, that is so disgusting.
Sorry about
And I
that.
have a sister. My sister's name
And
is
dad,
Nikki.
right? That's your dad or her dad?
Her dad.
Her dad, okay. I thought you held the kiss a little
God. really grossed out.
Her
right
dad's
now.
like, I'm kicking his ass.
Thanks to the folks at Devil's Advocate, because we are wrapping up this week. Wraps up our first month here, so it's hopefully we're on our way to our second. And it's been a lot of fun. They've taken great care of us, and the food's fantastic. Quickly, plug your websites, plug your writing.
Puckettspond.com, all the Twin stuff, houndsports.com, all the Gopher stuff. Check out the Fan-Sided Network, and follow on Twitter for all of it. It's at TLSCHWERZ.
Awesome. So I've got like 40 seconds for apologies today. Let's see. Phil Mackey, Red Squirrels, gay marriage.
Swamp regions.
Tom Brady's pubes.
Jeez, you guys are tough on me.
They died, don't worry.
Oh, yeah, the macro brews.
Oh, yeah.
The Budweisers of the world with their genetically altered corn that's making people grow sexual organs out of their ears. You just stay away from genetically altered food, as far as I'm concerned, especially if it's corn. Just buy corn.
Corn can suck it.
Well, don't make beer out of corn. Make beer out of barley and oats and hops, right? Right, beer.
I'm racist towards corn.
All right, we got to get out of here. All right, well, suck it, Budweiser. But advertise with us.
Next time.
Advertise with us.
We're out of here.
Oh, I'm screwed.